before we begin with the presentation of these dances, because we're talking about dances when we speak about the ceremony of the Voladores, it's important to insist on the fact that she must not be considered as a simple acrobatic show attraction. It is undeniable that all over of this big festive show aspect that she deploys, we must not forget the more initiatory element, more historic and more philosophical, in which do this ceremony bathe for at least 8 centennial. In a world where more and more for the human being all is summarized in terms of productivity and of consumption, it is interesting to take part in the recall of the basis of the heart and the spirit, by the memory of creative last times of our real daily life, of philosophy and of poetry, which make us thinking mammals and thus different from the reign of the simple animal. The choice of this authentic ceremony as animation within the framework of your artistic or commercial events does nothing but bring the balance between the commercial act and of the spirit act, essential for the survival and the development of our companies. It is for this reason that it will be unthinkable today to organize a trade fair without integrating into it the festive element, which will be even more developing, at the same time supplementing it by the cultural element. That's the importance of this animation on Flying Men Aztecs of Mexico. Excellent balance between the body and the spirit, based on the communion between man and nature. On this subject, Diego Rivera, the immense Mexican muralist painter, set about the artistic direction of the Totonacapan, original geographic area and realization of this dance. Their art has rare quality to mix the purest architectural styles with most long-lived of spiritual realism. This artistic expression is represented as a whole by the pyramids architecture since Yohualitzan with El Tajín, the ceramics of the smiles, the flower of the vainilla of the arable lands, or precisely the initiatory dance of the Voladores. Thanks to these poetic images which stimulate our imaginary, we are now well within the heart of our topic. Although presented in its most modern form, the dance of the Voladores reflects still today the largest respect for its ancestral traditions. It undoubtedly forms part of one of the most complex cosmic ceremonies and symbolic systems which are celebrated in the world. The monk Torquemada, companion of the conquistador Hernán Cortés, says in his Relation of America that voladores were not any Indian, but those carrying the knowledge of the mystery of this initiatory ceremony. This ritual takes its origin probably in the central Mexican altiplano, the Mixteca. Then it was adopted by Toltecas de Tula, close to the Valley of Mexico City, which, later, in a reduced version of only 2 participants, exported towards Guatemala and Nicaragua. Because if among the Aztecs the flight is carried out by 4 men birds, at the beginning of the Spanish conquest it were carried out by 6 voladores, as it was still the case some time ago in Quetzalan and Atlisco, from where are originating the members of our team. It is one of the most original and authentic Aztec flying men groups. They are referred by the Mexican anthropologists. Indeed, their rite is presented daily buckled some in video of the Voladores zone on the first ethnographic floor of the largest museum of anthropology of the world, that of Mexico City. You can recognize there Jorge Baltasar, the Voladores master and son of its pupils, with reports on its works realized over several decades. After having carried out the choice ritual from cutting, transport and transplantation of the trunk with great reinforcement of music and offering, they always begin their ceremony with the sound of forgiveness. They obviously must, with precondition of the rise towards the top located at 30-meter height, ask Natural Mother to forgive them, to take away a son. This beautiful tree here, a Douglas pine cut down specially for the ceremony. It is at the Aztec time and during the conquest that the music replaced the offerings. This ceremony is related to the spring rite. It was carried out for the 21st of March equinox, always marks till today in each indigenous commune by the election of a spring queen. The flight symbolizes the celestial origin of the food plants and has ancestral bonds with the corn cultures, closely connected with America today known as Latin. It formed integral part of the ceremonies in the honor of the divine spirits related to the course of the everyday life. Accompanying the captive sacrificed warriors by gladiatorial rite or sifting of arrows slowly stripped in all their body. These sacrifices went up to the sky to join God's Son to return on the ground in the form of birds or of butterflies. The return of these downward warriors of the sky was thus symbolized by this flight of voladores. At the conquest time, the human sacrifices were prohibited, from where in its current form ceremony became a whole and more complete in its basic symbols. It connects the man, priest, half-god, for the time of the ceremony with the spirits of nature. Voladores make the offering risking their life to call, like and heard in their prayers by the forces of the sky and the earth. The rise is vertiginous along the trunk, which symbolizes the male element by excellence. It is the immense phallic hyphen between the sky and the ground which it penetrates in order to fertilize corn seed, bases even life of these people by connecting the male element's top, sun, clouds and wind with the female one of bottom, the water of the ground, in an act sublimating the procreation of nature. The height of the trunk, flanked by the wooden square, indicates 4 cardinal points. It supports 4 ropes attached to 4 voladores and who connect them with the life. The caporal, the 5th element, slept or standing at the end of the trunk, always beginning by the east and successively in the direction of 4 cardinal points, will address the spirits in this ceremony divided into 4 parts. The first phase, slept on the tree in the horizontal, calls the forces of the sky. They should not forget one of the spirits which could get angry and create an incident. It is necessary to realize thus necessarily this call in 4 horizontal directions. The Sun King, watching the whole, placed just above the body of the man bathed by the beams of the light and of the breath of the wind. The 4th part ends the ceremony, the famous long-awaited flight of all, symbol of the rays of the sun above the horizon. Ropes take place carrying out 13 tours around the tree, such line them from the sun extending in the sky throughout the day. 4 periods of 13 years are symbolically present, which multiplied by 4 gives Sun's 52-year-old Aztecs the unit of time of their calendar cycle. The men representing eagles, quetzales or butterflies come back from the sky toward their original earth. The caporal, staying on the top of the tree offering his body to the beams of the sun, will come down later, being allowed sliding during the rope, continuing his exploit and offering the risk of this ceremony to this spirit of the nature. But let's return to our ceremony description. The second part, by the rhythm of the dance, consisted among other jumps on the summit of the tree and by the development of the trunk. The vibration produced by jumping and which slides in strongly in the ground, drawing the attention of the telluric spirits, feminine so joined male. The spirits of the sky and the earth are present. The third part can take place to show them the courage of each of the men in the service of their people. It is a back curve realized by the caporal, always in 4 cardinal points. We make beautiful. We want to please the gods, and we realize at the same time as the prayers, which will help to obtain the good growth of plants, coming of the rain or cure of the patients of the community.